It's 7. Can I start?
Just give me 1 second. I'm just setting up the YouTube live.
Okay.
Yeah, it is loading. Yeah, you can start now.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 479th meeting of Toastmasters Club of Pune-West. The theme of this meeting is test matches. I'm Toastmaster Saurabh, your Sergeant at Arms for today. Before we start the meeting, I would like to state the club mission, which is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self confidence and personal growth. Now, in order to ensure the peaceful conduct of this online meeting, there are a few rules we shall follow. Firstly, turn off your mic if you're not the one who's speaking. Secondly, keep your videos on so that the speaker feels that he's speaking in front of a live audience. Unless you're moving or there are like distractions around you, then you can switch it off for a while and then switch it on later again. Lastly, whenever the speaker is coming on the stage, please encourage the speaker with a round of applause or using the clap emoji, which is in the bottom right corner in Zoom. Now, I would like the guests to introduce themselves in about 20 seconds. Guest Rupesh, can you please unmute and introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, I am Rupesh Pathak. Currently, I am working as Assistant Administrative Officer in ICAR Directorate of Floricultural Research. The office is located at College of Agriculture campus, Shivaji Nagar. Thank you.
Thank you, Rupesh. It's great to have you here. Now it's time to invite the host of today's meeting. He's an investment advisor by profession and a podcaster and Toastmaster by passion. He's a current Area O1 director and the immediate past president of this club. Let us welcome Toastmaster of the day, Vivaswan onto the stage with a huge applause. Over to you, Toastmaster Vivaswan.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. It's great to be back at the club once again. I think we had a couple of more guests. Ratikant Vallapure is also there. So, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, hi. My name is Ratikant Vallapure. I have by profession network engineer. Right now, I'm working in Reliance Jio company. Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Ratikant.
Thank you.
It is also Toastmaster Apurva's first meeting as a member now. So, we won't have to ask her to introduce herself as a guest. So, welcome, Toastmaster Apurva. Now, to speak a bit about the yeah, now to speak a bit about the theme today, test matches. Whoever is interested and loves test matches, please turn on your videos. Great. It's nice to see that a few videos are being turned on and there are not many only T20 fans and all the videos will get turned off. That was something I was expecting, but it's good that it didn't happen. Now, last month and this month, we noticed something great. History being created where Indian contingent went down under and won a test series in Australia. Now, what's so special about it? The same thing had happened in 2018-19 as well. Nothing really special, right? Was there? Does anyone know why this series was special? You can just unmute. Like I'm not going to be the only one talking. You can also participate.
The Australian side was Tushar here. The Australian side was full-fledged as a team. We all were bruised, but still won it. Battled and
Yes.
bruised across for the victory. So it was like kind of David versus Goliath story.
Yeah, exactly. In 2018-19, the sandpaper gate incident had just happened. And when we toured Australia, their two main players, David Warner and Steven Smith, were not there. So when we won there, many of the critics said that no, this is not a true victory. Their side was depleted. Now, this time when we went over there, their side was full of their talents. And our side, we started with 11 players in the first test match. And by the last test match, we had played 20 players out of our squad of 15 because we had to call on our net bowlers as well to participate in the matches. I swear, if we would have had a few more injuries, then Ravi Shastri would have definitely started bowling and probably he might have taken a couple of wickets. But yes, this victory was indeed great. And as Harsha Bhogle, the voice of cricket, said, that this series was an advertisement for Test cricket. Now, as we go ahead in today's session, I'll speak about a few nice memories about a few matches that I have and about a series that is upcoming very soon. But before we go ahead, like in a test match, there are a few umpires, first, second, third, fourth, and even the match referee. I will also have a few people who will be helping me with the conduct of this meeting. The first person who opened this meeting was Toastmaster Saurabh. Let me just share his introduction in a second. He is studying computer science engineering and his hobbies include reading, traveling, and adventure sports. He is an ambivert, and regarding music, he doesn't really like anything specific. It depends on his mood. He was the sergeant at arms, so you can say he was the first umpire. So thank you, Toastmaster Saurabh, for the lovely opening. Let's have a round of applause for him.
Thank you.
Now in the World Test Championship, had Australia not been slow with their over rate, they would have qualified along with New Zealand and played the finals. They were penalized for 4 points. Now today you won't be penalized for being slow, but you will definitely be disqualified if you go beyond the time limit. So today, keeping track of time is Toastmaster Tanvi. She is a computer science engineering student who recently started her education in that field. And she also loves cricket, kind of, and is, in my opinion, she has a swagger like Yuvraj Singh. So let's welcome the timer for today to explain her role, Toastmaster Tanvi. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vivaswan. So I'll be the timer for today's meeting. Time management is an essential part of a Toastmasters meeting. And also it is very important that we deliver our thoughts to the audience in the specified amount of time. So I'll be timing all the speeches today. The green card will be shown. For example, for a speech, it will be shown at 5 minutes, which indicates that you have qualified for the awards. The yellow card will be shown at 6 minutes, and the red card will be shown at 7 minutes. And you will be given 30 minutes to wrap up your speech. Beyond that, the speaker would be disqualified and would not be eligible for voting. So I'll announce the timings for every speech as and when required. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Tanvi. The next role player is the second umpire for today's match. She is the R counter for today's meeting. So let's welcome Toastmaster Dineshwari. I'll just give you her introduction in brief. Where is it? Yeah. She is a 2020 MBA pass out working in Orient Technology. She loves to do yoga daily, and along with that, she loves swimming and painting. So I hope all of your speeches are smooth and your strokes are fluent because she will be keeping an eye on it. Let's welcome Toastmaster Dineshwari to explain her role.
Thanks, TMOD. So, can you hear my voice?
Yes, we can hear it.
Yes. So, fellow Toastmaster and welcome guests, good evening. My name is Dineshwari. My duty as the accountant is to listen carefully for verbal distraction. At Toastmaster, our aim is to reduce our reliance on these words and achieve clear and eloquent speech. For doing so, I shall take note of such filler words such as you know, and so. Other filler words or sounds like I will also keep the track of repeated words like the And lastly, I will keep track of small and long pauses also. So when they are distracting, I shall report my findings at the end of the meeting. Thank you. Thank you. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Dineshwari. Now, along with the two umpires, we also have a third umpire who will be keeping a close eye on his screen and will be informing us at the end of the meeting wherever someone has overstepped or whenever someone has bowled a wide by using incorrect grammar. So the grammarian for today's meeting is Toastmaster Siddhant. He is also a computer science engineering student. Rather, he qualified recently. And let's welcome him, also a sports fan. Toastmaster Siddhant, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Over to you. Is it
Also,
possible for you to turn on the video?
no, my camera, there's some issue with the camera. I won't be able to turn it
Okay,
on.
fine. Then everyone can look at me while he speaks.
Oh, also, by the way, I have never gone to computer science ever in my life. So I think you mistook me for someone else.
There have been so many substitutions in the recent matches that it's really hard to keep track of which player is actually available. So I'm really sorry for that.
Not a big deal. Can I share my screen? Do I need the...
Yeah, sure. Let me just turn it on. Yeah, you can share it now.
Okay. Just give me 1 second. Okay. My role for today is the language evaluator. And what does this role really entail? The grammarian, he plays an important role in actually helping the club members to improve their grammar and their vocabulary. As a grammarian, I would introduce to you new words in the meeting and monitor your language as and when the meeting proceeds. So your good and your not so good usage of language. The word of the day for today is esoteric. What does esoteric mean? Esoteric means that something that is intended for or likely to be understood by only a very small number of people who have a very specialized interest or knowledge. Some examples would be although I did okay on the exam, I found trigonometry to be an esoteric subject. Or Mansi was an 8-year-old who had esoteric interests unlike her peers. Would anybody like to use this in a sentence of their own? I would encourage you to actually use it in a sentence. Yes, Swapnil.
Um, Swapnil Paranspe has an historic interest like public speaking, unlike his friends.
Nice. The word is esoteric. ESOTERIC.
Esoteric, yeah. Sorry.
Esoteric. Would anyone nice Swapnil. Would anybody else like to try it out? Anybody? Okay, no problem. Moving on. The word of the day for today is cutting corners. Cutting corners means to skip certain steps in order to do something as easily or cheaply as possible, usually to the detriment of the finished product or result. For example, because the language evaluator's role was extremely difficult, he decided to cut corners. When you have a lot of work to do, you begin to cut corners. Would anybody like to use this in a sentence? Toastmaster Apurva, I see you're new to the meeting. Would you like to give it a try?
I don't remember anything. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else?
I'll give it a try.
Yes.
Sometimes the non-striker tries to cut corners by taking a start. So for the bowler, it is completely fine to do munkading. But this opinion of mine is a very esoteric opinion.
Controversy.
Can I
Okay.
try?
Yes, please.
When you decide to cut corners in your answer sheet, the teacher decides to cut your marks.
Thank God. Yes. Actually, I was going to give you guys a challenge about using both of them in a single sentence, but Toastmaster of the Day has already done that. So yes, that is my time for right now. I will be presenting my report at the end of the meeting, and yes, I wish you all the best. Do try and use the word of the day and idiom of the day as much as you can, and yes, all the best. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Siddhant.
Yes, has it stopped sharing, by the way? I'm not sure.
Yes, it has stopped. The last role player who will be helping me out in today's meeting is the match referee. He is also the general evaluator for today's meeting. So let's have a round of applause for Toastmaster Vishal. I'll introduce him whenever his turn to speak comes towards the end of the meeting. Now, before we go ahead, let me explain the flow of the meeting for a few guests that have joined us. Uh, guest Chirag Mutha has joined in after the meeting started. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Chirag. I was a previous member of Toastmaster, but I recently moved to back to India. So decided to join, try a few Toastmasters club and join back again to the community.
Great,
Thank
great.
you so much for having me.
Welcome back, Toastmaster Chirag. I guess once a Toastmaster, so always a Toastmaster.
Yeah,
So I should not call you a guest.
yeah.
We also have guest Balaji Jagtap. Do you want to introduce yourself? Okay, never mind. We will have his introduction later on. Now, let me explain the flow of today's meeting. Firstly, we will have prepared speeches, which will have certain objectives and a time limit. The speakers have had 2-3 weeks time to prepare, and after that, they are giving the speeches. After that, we will have evaluation by senior Toastmasters based on the objectives of those speeches. Usually, after the evaluation session, we also have an impromptu speaking session called as table topics. But today, we will not be having that since we have a different session planned later on. After the evaluations are done, we will have the role player reports. That is the R counter, language evaluator, and grammarian that we had spoken about, that we got introduced to. Once that is done, the first part of the meeting will be ended by the presiding officer. We will have a small break if time permits. And after that, we will have a session called as Moments of Truth. So in that session, we have an overall evaluation of how the club is performing and whether it is living up to the standards set by Toastmasters International. So guests, if you are interested in staying back for that event, you are most welcome to do so. It is not that it is only for the members, even the guests can participate. Now let's go ahead with the theme once again. The recent Australia series was iconic. Do any of you have any favorite test matches that you would like to share about in say 30 seconds or a minute? I'm sure some of you will have.
Ben Stokes at Headingley, Ashes 2019.
Yes, I think he had scored 189 or 186 not out and had single-handedly won that test match for England. And the most interesting part is that the person on the opposite end was the number 11 who scored just a single solitary run in that match. But that was very, very important in the context of the game.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you want to
The
add anything, Siddhant?
No, it's okay. It's not a big deal.
Okay, cool.
yeah, the Kolkata win at after the follow-on in 2001.
Yes. Do you want to share anything more about that match?
Yes, I recall the headlines in Times of India after that Lakshman and Dravid scored about 350 odd runs without any wickets. So it was like the wall and the god, something like that, and about no wickets the whole day. So that was the heading the next day. And then, of course, we won on the 5th day.
Yes, certainly. And along with Dravid and Lakshman, we also had Sachin contributing with a few wickets, and Harbhajan, of course, contributing with lots of wickets. So that was an iconic test match. We also have a few members who are probably born after that test match happened. So I'll urge them to please go and check out those highlights. It will give you goosebumps, definitely. Anyone else who wants to share any iconic test match?
The one where VVS Lakshman won us the test match in 2010 versus Australia.
Yeah.
I was in school that time, and when I returned home, at that time Lakshman and I think Oja were playing, and we won the match. That was a great one because he won that match with batting with the tail, essentially.
Yes, definitely. I think this was somewhere around 2011 or so. I was in 11th standard or 12th standard at that point of time. And I remember this because I was also in class, and by that time we had smartphones. So all of us were tracking the match on Crickbus. And eventually, at one point of time, Lakshman and Ishant Sharma, both of them were batting for a very long period. And once we got close to the test match, even the teacher stopped teaching us, and the whole class was glued about what the result would be. So I think test match is a lovely thing that brings all the people together. And even if it is over 5 long days, the last few sessions are definitely very interesting, even for the pure T20 lovers as well. Now, before we move on to the prepared speakers, we have a couple of more guests joining us. So let's have an introduction from them. Just give me a second. Guest Avishkar, do you want to introduce yourself?
Vivaswan, it is me, Indrajit.
Oh, okay. No worries, no worries. So we don't really have any guests. People logging in from their brother's account probably. Similarly, how Ganguly had replaced his brother during his debut. So there are stories of cricket always relatable whenever any incident happens in life. So now let's move on towards the first speaker for the day. The speaker is attempting level 2 project 1 of path leadership development, which is managing time. She will be evaluated by Toastmaster Indrajit. I'll request him to read out the objectives of the speech. Oh wait, I think I've missed out on the presiding officer's opening address. So for that, let's welcome a computer science engineering student. This time I'm correct. She also represented Maharashtra in under 19 for 4 years. She's an off spinner and a left hand batsman. So let's welcome Toastmaster Mansi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Vivaswan. Toastmasters and guests, good evening. Now, if you ask me what is my one regret when I played for Maharashtra, that one regret would be that I never got to play 4-day matches or 5-day matches as a player. We always played T20 matches and 50 overs matches. The cricket is a funny game. We have 3 formats. 3 formats are very unique. T20 is a format where every ball is an event. A single ball can change the outcome of the match. In 50 overs, you need close to 600 to 610 balls to decide the outcome of a match. But Test cricket, it is special because even if you play for 5 days, sometimes you cannot decide who is the winner. And what do I like about Test cricket? The thing about Test cricket is you now as a bowler, you need to bowl 6 to 7 overs on the same spot, setting up the batsman, and then you get the result. You don't get quick results. As a batsman, you have to bat out the tough periods. The periods when the bowler is on the top, you have to bat those periods out, and then you get to score your runs. It is a tough format for every cricketer, and that's why it is the best. Test cricket is like life. There are moments when you have to hang in, when you are not playing good, even if you're not playing at your best, you have to hang in, and then you have to wait for the perfect opportunity to cash in. So that is why I love Test cricket. Now, if you ask me to speak about Test cricket, I would speak about it for 5 days, the same duration of a Test match. That is how much I love Test cricket. In fact, during the famous Brisbane Test, on the fifth day, I had a statistics paper at 2 p.m. And guess what? I think the match ended at 1:30 p.m. or 1:40 p.m. sometime around that. And I knew on the third day itself that something great is going to happen in this test match. That's why I made sure that I was going to study everything and I'm going to watch that match even before my exam. That was my goal. Now, if you ask an engineering student, why are you studying 2 days before the exam? You have the whole night before the exam. But that was my aim because I wanted to watch the test match without any fuss about my exams. That is how much I love test cricket. But today, talking about test cricket is the TMOD's job. That is not my job. So I'll let him do the talking, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Presiding Officer Mansi. Now let us move on to the prepared speeches. That is the first session of the test match on a spicy pitch, overcast conditions. So let's welcome the opening bowler. He will introduce the batsman for today. So as I said, she is attempting project 1 from level 2 of path leadership development, which is managing time. The evaluator is Toastmaster Indrajit. So I'll ask him to read out the objectives of the speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Toastmaster Swarangi is attempting her level 2 project 1 speech from the path leadership development. And the purpose of this project is for the member to observe her time management patterns. Thank you, and I wish all the best to Toastmaster Swarangi.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Indrajit. Toastmaster Swarangi, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. The title of the speech, first let me introduce her. She is a chartered accountancy student, not a very big fan of cricket, but she is also our Vice President Education, and she has been handling the club really well. So as a past president, I am really appreciative of the work that she is doing. So let's welcome for the speech, Toastmaster Swarangi. Draft your personality. Draft your personality, Toastmaster Swarangi.
Okay. Am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Oh, my handwriting appears the best when I'm writing an exam, said no one ever. Distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Had you ever thought that the way you write your L's or your E's would affect your personality? I personally didn't until very recently. So last Sunday, I was attending a meeting which had an hour scheduled for a session by a well established graphologist. After giving a brief about graphology, he asked all the participants in the room to send him a specimen of our handwritings. Just 2 lines would be more than enough. He analyzed the handwritings and gave his observations. Very swift and efficient. His observations were by and large based on the personality. Some stuff like are you ambitious or a meticulous person, or whether you are a visual or an auditory learner, or even whether you are an extrovert or an introvert. And everyone agreed that his observations were quite precise. But the moment that instantly blew everyone's mind was when he pointed out peculiar facts about each person. And these were very weird ones. He asked a girl whether she had just recently changed her shampoo. And she really had. He asked another boy whether he was very choosy about his headphones.
And he really was. But the main part that actually left me astounded was when he mentioned that my dream was to have a big farmhouse with a fairly large number of dogs. And that couldn't be more accurate. And he managed to figure that out solely on the basis of my handwriting. And the sentences that I had written were just about technology, nothing even remotely related to dogs. That's when my curiosity about graphology hit the peak. So I started doing a bit of research on it. Turns out, becoming a graphologist requires knowledge in a lot of areas. To give you a few examples, psychology, psychiatry, history of writing, neuroscience, and the like. The main concept that graphology revolves around is that the hand writes what the brain determines. The way we write can give away about 5,000 clues, give away clues about 5,000 different personality traits. This can be based on various factors such as the spacing between your letters or how you sign your name, the size of your letters, and whatnot. Graphology can also be used to identify health problems such as schizophrenia, high blood pressure, or even how much energy you have. Now, to give you a few examples, there are some very obvious indications. Like people with smaller handwriting tend to be shy, studious, and meticulous, whereas people with a larger handwriting are generally outgoing or good at socializing. But there are some very specific pointers as well, like the way we cross our T's. If it's at the top, it indicates that the person is ambitious, optimistic, and has good self esteem. However, if the cross is in the middle, it shows that one is confident and comfortable in her or his own skin. If you have a long cross, it shows that you are determined or enthusiastic. And if the crosses are short, it indicates tendency to be lazy and lacking determination. In the world of graphology, handwriting sample is also called a brain print because it's almost like a snapshot of your current mindset. But one question kept nagging me at the back of my mind. Does it work the other way around? Can changing your handwriting affect your personality? And I was surprised to find out that the answer is a most definite yes. The concept is called graphotherapy. Graphotherapy is a scientific way to make alterations in your handwriting, which can directly impact your whole personality. While practicing graphotherapy, the hand sends signals to the mind to make conscious, desirable results based on specific objectives. Then, over a period of regular practice of 30 to 40 days, it starts impacting your personality. There are some specific things that we can do. For example, writing with proper spacing between words and letters helps you develop a balanced relationship with others. A properly placed dot on the I increases your concentration and memory focus. Researches and surveys have shown that, among many others, graphotherapy helps to become more determined, achieve higher concentration levels, increase confidence level, overcome procrastination, overcome depression, and so much more. To be honest, I still haven't got my mind around how changing the way I write could possibly have such a huge impact on my personality. But the more I've started reading about it, the more I've started getting convinced by it. And the only way to know for sure would be to undergo such a therapy. I, for one, am very keen to try it out. Are you? Over to you, Toastmaster Vivaswan.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sarangi. Let me just spotlight myself. Yeah. So, have you observed that whenever people are passionately watching a test match or even any cricket match, they keep on shouting at their TV, "Hey, that was a four, that was a four." Some other friend shouts, "Hey, no, that was a six." Do you guys know that no matter how much you shout, it does not make any difference to the players? But unlike that, whatever your opinion is about the speaker's speech today, that surely will make a difference to the speaker's journey. So I request everyone to take 30 seconds to write feedback for the speaker. You can message her through direct message on the Zoom application. And please make sure that you send the feedback because it is very encouraging for the speaker. And along with the evaluator, the speaker also gets to learn 10 different perspectives of how the speech was. You can show a thumbs up once you're done. Okay, now let's move on to the non-striker. The first over is done. It was an even score, so the strike has now changed. Now the second speaker will be attempting project 2 from level 5 of Path Innovative Planning. I am the evaluator for that speech, so I'll just read out the objectives. Before that, Toastmaster Swapnil, are you ready?
Am I audible and am I visible, Toastmaster Vivaswan?
No, you are not visible.
I'm not visible.
No.
Okay, am I?
Yes, you are visible now. Let me just read out the objectives of the speech. The purpose of this project is for the member to reflect on his or her growth during the completion of an entire path. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her growth during the completion of the path. Now, the speaker is a travel enthusiast. He has done a couple of courses in traveling. He also loves learning different languages. I don't remember what is the specific word for that. And he is also studying BCom as well.
Linguistic.
Okay, he is multilingual basically. And he is also studying BCom as well. So let's welcome one of the most enthusiastic members of our club, Toastmaster Swapnil. Just give me 1 second. Toastmaster Swapnil. Happy birthday, Swapnil. Happy birthday, Swapnil. Toastmaster Swapnil. Over to you.
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. साल भर में सबसे ज्यादा होता है ये एक दिन 100 दुआएं दे रहा दिल तुमको आज के दिन I wish you happy birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. I wish you happy birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Hold on. Today is not my birthday. It's 3rd February, and I'll be completing 5 glorious years in Toastmasters Club of Pune-West. It's not Swapnil, but Toastmaster Swapnil who would be celebrating his birthday because Toastmaster in Swapnil came into existence on this day. So I thought that this would be the best time to share some of my insights associated with my unforgettable 5 years of Toastmasters journey. Mr. President, Toastmaster of the Day, fellow Toastmasters, future Toastmasters, and dear guests, good evening. It was 3rd February 2016, my first day in Toastmasters Club of Pune-West as a guest. I would like to introduce myself as a shy, composed, and a soundless person dressed in casuals when I entered the room, only to find myself as an odd man out. Because everyone was dressed in formals, sparked with excellent grooming and professional attire. The first person I met that day was distinguished Toastmaster Shalini Gandham, who was president back in time. And before she was about to introduce herself and to Toastmaster, looking at my casual and amateur attire and grooming, the first question she asked me, Swapnil, what is your age? And not just Toastmaster Shalini, everyone asked me the same question because looking at my attire, it did not look like I was some corporate professional, but it was but obvious that I was a college going student. After communicating with different people, I realized one thing, that I was the youngest person in the room and the only college going student. This bitter truth made me nervous and frantic from inside. And the worst nightmare that I encountered that day was during the table topic session. Toastmaster Soham Joshi, who was the VP education back then, was also the table topic master for the day. He invited me on the stage for the table topic, and can you believe me what was the topic he gave me? The topic was green, and I had to speak on this topic for minimum of 1 minute. Somehow, in order to do justice to the time, I uttered three magical sentences and finished my speech in 1 minute, 1 seconds. No, 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 not I love you. Three magical sentences. Green is a color of parrot. BJP symbol is green. Green, 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 green. There is nothing in the world that is not green. Everything in the world is green. So tell me, what is not green? And I went back. This sounded more like a tongue twister than a table topic speech. I realized that I had uttered absolute nonsense and had finished my speech. And you know the creepiest part? Everyone was laughing and applauding at my speech as if I had won some Bharat Ratna award. Guilt stricken and humiliated for the disgraceful act that I just put forth in front of everyone, I decided that I am not going to attend any Toastmasters meeting henceforth. But that is the time Toastmaster Soham Joshi approached me and he said, Swapnil, have you played a game of dice? Table topic session is just like this game of dice, where we are completely oblivious about the upcomings, but we need to be prepared from inside and learn to tackle the vicious challenges that come across your path. If we have shields like hard work, willpower, determination, perseverance, and zeal to gain, come what may, by hook or by crook, there is no power that can destroy us. And these words of Toastmaster Soham Joshi still strike my ears after 5 years. I still had 3 months in hand to become eligible for the membership and take different speeches. I was just 17 when I joined Toastmasters. So I spent next 3 months in working on my table topics. And that time I received lot of guidance from Toastmaster Soham Joshi, who used to provide me suggestions and tips to improve upon table topics by the end of the day. And finally, dawned that most awaiting day, May 2016, when I officially became the member of Toastmasters Club of Pune-West. Without wasting even a spur of time, I decided to take up different roles. My first icebreaker speech on June 2016. Now I have certain strange experiences about CC1 and CC2 speeches, because whenever I tried to make my speech humorous, it turned out that people never laughed at it. And whenever I never attempted to make my speech humorous, people always laughed at it. And the same thing I experienced at CC1 and CC2 speeches. My CC1 speech was typical to a nursery composition. It was like this. Hi, I am Swapnil Paranspe. I am in 12th standard. I study at Symbiosis College of Arts and Commerce. The way I was speaking like an innocent kid itself made everyone laugh. And when I attempted the CC2 speech, when I tried to make it a bit humorous, nobody laughed at it. And my experience was like, whenever I tried to make it funnier, people never laughed at it. And whenever I never tried to make my speech funnier, people laughed at it. So one regret that I always had in my journey is that I really wish I could have worked on my humorous content. Humorous speech is something where I couldn't master till date, because the thing about humorous speech is there are different punchlines, and out of 16 punchlines people get only 8. So it is a kind of it is something which requires lot of skill and talent. Proceeding on to the advanced version of my competent communication path, the CC7, CC8, and CC9 speech, I had three critical evaluators who evaluated my speech: Toastmaster Tejaswini and Toastmaster Mihir Mansoorwale. They are experts in giving critical evaluation. But I always like critical evaluators because their main objective is that don't hurry up in finishing your path. It is always better to learn something from your mistakes and then proceed ahead. Enjoy your journey the way you enjoy your destination is what I learned from these evaluators. So I repeated my CC7 speech 5 times, CC8 speech 6 times, and CC9 speech 7 times before I filed my competent communication path. And finally, it was May 2018, after 2 years of my hard work in improving upon my public speaking, I finally finished my competent communication and filed my path. Now, there is so much to speak about these years 2017, 2018, and 2019, because these were the most active years in my Toastmasters journey. You can say there were certain instances or incidences that changed my life completely. So many recognitions that I was part of. I traveled nearly 25 to 30 clubs during this time. I took part in so many contests. There were so many new people that I met and so many new friends that I made during this journey. I finished my competent communication on May 2018. That was the time I also won the Toastmaster of the Month award. I also won third place in evaluation contest. And I also won a Triple Crown award for completing competent communication and 2 parts from innovative planning on June 2019. Talking more about challenges that I faced in Toastmasters journey, the most important challenge that I faced was age factor. Because when I joined Toastmaster, I was the youngest person. I was just 17, and believe me, there were no college going students, or there was no person of my age when I joined. Now, over a period of time, we have got so many youngsters and so many college going students, but the situation was not the same when I joined earlier. I used to find that my ideas, my way of speaking, my the way I conduct myself, my thoughts were altogether different compared to the people that I had met in my journey. It took me a lot of time to adjust in Toastmasters, to know more about the Toastmasters proceeding. But one thing that I really miss from the bottom of my heart during this Toastmaster journey is enjoying the title of the youngest Toastmaster. Because whenever Toastmaster of the day used to introduce myself, he used to always introduce me as youngest Toastmaster of Toastmasters Club of Pune-West. Now, talking about pathways, one of the most memorable incidents, a memorable experience that I have about pathways is innovative planning level 4 project, manage events successfully. So, welcome to the era of pandemic, year 2020. This was my first experience to organize an event. It was called Inspirations 2020, which was based on how Toastmasters envision your life. And I had PR team with me who helped me in promoting this event. And Toastmasters and the panelists that time were Toastmaster Swapna, Toastmaster Rohan, Toastmaster Kunal, and Toastmaster Sanjay. And exactly 3 days before the event, I fell sick. But let me tell you, the panelists and the role players that I had coordinated and worked with were so understanding that they were like, no problem, Swapnil, you can definitely postpone this event. I was hospitalized because of dengue that time. And that was one of the most traumatizing moments of my life, because my ITA foundation exam was in 2 months, and also my final year exams were around the corner. So it was really a traumatizing time for me, but people were really cooperative with me. And the event was also promoted on a very large level. We had all more than 60 registrations that day. Talking about overall learning, one thing that I always learned, that Toastmasters is based on continuous learning. There is no specific age to learn. Every learning is always a milestone for me. I would like to end my speech by saying, learn, grow, and inspire. Over to Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Swapnil. Let's have a round of applause for him. Let us now take a few seconds to write feedback for Toastmaster Swapnil. You can share it with him through direct message on the application. Timer, can you share the timings for both the speakers?
Yes, sure. The exact timings are just whether they have qualified or not.
Now, if you have the exact timings, then you can share those. Otherwise, you can tell which speakers are qualified.
Just a minute, I'll put it in the chat box.
Okay, cool. Toastmaster Swapnil went over time, whereas Toastmaster Swarangi was within time. So we have only one speaker qualifying for the best speaker voting. So we won't have a separate voting as such. The best speaker will be announced by the presiding officer during her closing address. Now let's take a drinks break. Since we are playing a day-night test match over here, we won't have any lunch break. So we will just have a small drinks break of a couple of minutes. During that time, if you want to chit chat, then you can feel free to do so. We'll resume at 7:55 in my clock.
Vivaswan, I just want to check my mic is working correctly, right?
Yes, it is working.
Okay.
I guess even Dineshwari, it's a bit. Are you here?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Your mic is way clearer now. It was a bit difficult to hear you before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toastmaster Swarangi, was your project managing time only?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Toastmaster Maitreyi shared that a person knowing multiple languages or someone who is fond of speaking multiple languages is called as a polyglot. Thank you, Toastmaster Maitreyi. Yes, it is 7:55 in my clock. So let's go ahead with the next session. I'll request everyone to turn on their videos once again. Thank you so much. Toastmaster Indrajit, are you ready with the evaluation?
Yes.
So the evaluator is the sergeant at arms of the club and also the associate vice president public relations. So let's welcome Toastmaster Indrajit for evaluating Toastmaster Swarangi. Over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and Toastmaster Swarangi. What a beautiful speech on an esoteric topic, which was delivered by you, handwriting, graphology, and stuff which I hope doesn't betray me today. You started with a joke about handwriting, which was a very relatable joke and which caught the audience attention immediately. And we got onto the speech as soon as you started your speech. The structure of the speech, it had a very strong opening and a personal story which was engaging as well, with the protagonist of the story having some powers which were equivalent to that of Sherlock Holmes, which I think were equivalent to that of a true detective. And this personal story, which was absolutely engaging, led us into the core of the speech, which was graphology. So that was one thing which kept us hanging on to your speech right from the beginning. The third thing which I observed in your speech were the hand gestures, the crossing, and the different hand gestures which you used during the speech were enough to convey the ideas in less amount of words. So people could understand what you were trying to say in a few words and a few more hand gestures. And the hand gestures which you used were very informative as well, but I felt that some of the hand gestures were a bit distracting, like you were using your hand to point at something uh, in the area below the screen, which was a bit distracting and not related to the speech, which turned the audience's attention towards something which should not have happened. And the pacing of the speech, the same thing when you were talking about this interesting story about the crossings and how the size of the handwriting could uh, could be used to determine how what the personality of the speaker is. At that moment of time, you were going a bit fast, so it was difficult for the audience to keep up with that interesting story, the interesting plot which was happening, and it was difficult to keep up on that part of the story. Then the speech objectives, which required the speaker to to tell about the time management patterns, observe her time management patterns. The speaker had 2 minutes, but I felt that she cut the corners, and the speech objectives about her time management patterns were not seen in the speech. The fourth positive point was good vocabulary like nagging, which was used in her speech, and the title. I love the title. I saw what you did there with the title, drafting your personality with the help of a theme like graphology. To summarize, it was a great opening with a great structure, great vocabulary, and a good title. And the Toastmaster could work a bit on the hand gestures, which I thought to be excessive. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Indrajit. Now, the second speech by Toastmaster Swapnil was evaluated by me. I'll be sharing the evaluation for the same. Timer, are you ready? Great. As far as possible, I'm going to try and relate test matches wherever I can bring that element in. The Toastmaster Swapnil's speech today had a very interesting story about when he first walked in and how he was embarrassed on the stage. But it is not important that he was embarrassed. It is important that he still continued coming up on stage even after that, and he kept on delivering speeches to be the speaker that he is today. This is similar to Cheteshwar Pujara. In the last test match, he kept on getting blows on his body, but he stuck it out. So the eventual objective of winning the test match was achieved by Pujara, and the eventual objective of being a better speaker was achieved by the speaker. So congratulations to him. Secondly, youngsters making debuts on the big stage. This also happened in the current series, and Toastmaster Swapnil, the speaker, he also started his Toastmasters journey at a very young age. What I loved about his speech was that he didn't just share learnings, he also shared the stories to go along with those learnings. And in that, he shared one very important point: repeating your projects whenever possible. I've seen many speakers just moving on whenever they attempt a project just once, thinking that now that I've attempted it, I've mastered it. But that is not the case. Completion of levels is not to show others, but to actually improve on those specific parts. So I really appreciate the speaker for attempting speeches multiple times just to refine those skills, and I congratulate him for it. But the speaker also shared that he appreciates critical feedback. So I have 2 points for him. Those points will be further extended. Firstly, from an experienced speaker, I was expecting a more prepared approach to the speech. I felt that the initial portion of the speech was well prepared, but later on, the speaker was fumbling at a couple of places. This also brought in redundancy when he was speaking about people laughing when he did not mean them to, and people not laughing when he meant them to. So this redundancy takes time away from the speech. Secondly, pauses between sentences and using and between two sentences. Both is not really very great for the structure of the speech. Using those full stops is really important because it differentiates two sentences. If I just keep on speaking about one thing and then I continue about different thing, it just breaks the structure. So I request the speaker to use pauses between sentences. And lastly, this was about reflecting on your path, and the speaker has also done competent communicator. So I would have loved it if the speaker could have shared his experience between two different icebreakers or two similar projects about what he faced the first time and what he faced the second time. Other than that, the speech was great, and to challenge himself, I'll encourage him to take up the path engaging humor so that people start laughing whenever the speaker is intending them to and not the other way around. So congratulations, Toastmaster Swapnil, and over to me again as the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vivaswan, for that lovely evaluation. Let's have a round of applause for him. Right, now, timer, are both the evaluators qualified?
Yes, just in time, both of you.
Yes. So just like India won the test match in the last couple of overs, similarly, both the evaluators qualified in the last few seconds. So let's now have voting for the best evaluator. I'll just share the poll on the screen and you can vote for whoever you want. For the co-hosts, you won't be able to vote, so you can direct message me on Zoom, whoever you want to vote for. And everyone, please do vote. We have 16 people on the channel right now, so it can be quite close. I'll keep the poll on for another 30 seconds. I'll keep it on for 15 more seconds. Okay, thank you so much everyone for voting. Now, let me just check the agenda if we have time to discuss about a few more matches. Let's finish the next session, and then if we have time, we will discuss about the next matches. So now it is time for the umpires to give their verdicts and see how the matches were today. So the first umpire will be the R counter Toastmaster Dineshwari. Are you ready with your report?
Thanks, Toastmaster of the day.
Toastmaster Dineshwari, you can just adjust the audio probably. It's cracking a bit.
Can you hear my voice now?
Yeah, it is better. It is slightly cracking, but it is better.
Okay, okay.
Toastmaster Dineshwari, can you hold on for a second?
Fine, fine.
Okay, you're good to go.
So, first, speaker who use less than 5 filler words, short pauses and repeated words. Toastmaster Saurabh Gavhane, who has used 3 Toastmaster Vivaswan Damle, who used 2 times and 2 times a. Then Toastmaster Siddhant Apte, who has used 3 times and 2 times and. And I think guest Chirag has used 5 times a. Then Mansi, who used 2 short pauses, 2 times and 1 a. Indrajit used 5 times a, 2 times the, and 3 times and. Toastmaster Swarangi has used 2 times a and 2 times a and 1 times the. And Toastmaster Swapnil has used 1 short pause, 4 times a and 2 times because and 1 times the. So that was the report. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Dineshwari. Let's have a round of applause for her. Now we will have the second umpire, who is not a computer science engineer. He is a BBA. So let's welcome Toastmaster Siddhant for the language evaluators report.
Hi, can you just do the next person first? Can I come on later? Is that okay?
Next is the general evaluator. So I
Oh,
think you will have to
okay,
go
okay,
first,
no
if
problem.
possible.
Okay, no issues. Can I'm just sharing my screen.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am back to give my. So I'm going to give my language evaluators report for the day. The word of the day and the idiom of the day was unfortunately not used by too many people. In the beginning, only Toastmaster Vivaswan used it in a sentence, and the idiom of the day was also used by Toastmaster Vivaswan and Toastmaster Mansi. How Toastmaster Indrajit did use the idiom of the day, so I applaud you for that. I was actually a bit occupied at the moment, so I couldn't show you the thumbs up, but kudos to you on that. Coming to the good and not so good usage of English, Toastmaster Swarangi, you used a very good analogy in the beginning where you said handwriting is best when it comes to exams, said no one ever. And then you began your entire speech, which gave a really nice foundation to everything. You used the word auditory, which means the sense of hearing. You use the word graphology a lot of times, but I don't think you actually defined the meaning of it. If you did, I'm so sorry, but I didn't notice it. However, I've just put it in here. You use the word and the like, which could have been and the likes. Um, that was one thing that I noticed. Also, schizophrenia is a very serious mental illness, which I just thought would be nice. It would be a nice piece of information for anyone who might not know. You use the word meticulous, which means showing great attention to detail, which is something that you did. You showed really good attention to detail throughout your speech, giving very meticulous um, reasons to your understanding. And you use the word procrastination. The word procrastination means the act of delaying or postponing a task or a set of tasks. It is something that we all do and we all know what it means, but just in case. Toastmaster Swapnil. Uh, Toastmaster Vivaswan, the word linguophile means someone who loves to learn languages. The word polyglot means someone who can speak a lot of languages. I don't know how different they are, but um, that's the meaning that I found online. You used back in the day instead of back. Sorry, you used back in time. It could the word the sentence could have been better if you would have said back in the day. It gives a lot more preciseness to the word to the sentence, and it just closes everything in a very nice way. You use the phrase but obvious, which means easy to see or understand. You use the quote that is enjoy your journey how you enjoy the destination, which is something which is very important. um, about the Toastmasters proceedings. Right. So you used about a Toastmaster proceeding. Instead, you could have said about the Toastmasters proceedings because it was a plural noun and a subject. Learn to grow and inspire. And you used like a couple of times, the word like, where it was not super necessary. And I think that's all that you would. Toastmaster Vivaswan. So many analogies. I could not keep track of all the analogies that you were using, and it was just really nice to actually go through the process with you. You used refine those skills, which was a very interesting usage. You use the word redundancy, which means to do something over and not really uh, for getting the same result and not really needing to do that. And you used very good comparisons while speaking, where you said that you could have done this because of something else, which was very interesting, I felt. Toastmaster Indrajit, you use the word core, which means something that is part of something that is central to its existence or character. You used at the moment, which is actually the right way to say it. It is very easy for people to say in that moment, so kudos to you on that. And you kind of made me cut corners because you gave the good usage that Toastmaster Swarangi had. She had said nagging, and which means constantly harassing someone to do something. I didn't have more time. I thought I would have a proper a bit more prepared, but I think that is it from my side. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Siddhant, for the lovely report. And it's fine, it was fairly detailed. Now it is time for the match referee to give his comments. So, Toastmaster Vishal, are you ready?
Yeah, I would like to share my screen.
Yeah. So before I hand over to you, Toastmaster Vishal is a serial entrepreneur. That's all I would like to speak about him. He keeps on coming with different ventures. So let's hear more from the general evaluator for today, Toastmaster Vishal.
Is the screen visible? Just a second. All right. Uh, I've always been bad with presentations, so I thought, why not try to use it for the general evaluator's report? It won't be perfect, but I'll try my best. Uh, Anyways, 479 chapter meeting. Theme test matches. How many of you enjoyed today's theme? I sure did. I'm not a great cricket fan, but I still did. Would you like to have an inter-district Toastmasters cricket tournament? That was the first thing that came into my mind when I heard Vivaswan talking about cricket. Starting with the presiding officer, Toastmaster Mansi. The commendations for her are the meeting started bang on time. I liked that she spoke of personal experience. It is always nice to speak about your personal experience because that way the audience feels connected with you. Because instead of telling somebody else's story, why not tell your own? She elaborated on a theme very well. The recommendations I have for her is acknowledging the Toastmaster of the previous month, maybe mentioning the birthdays. I understand that she was not given to speak in the beginning, which should have been given, but nevertheless, she could have also put in some more energy. Sergeant at Arms, I'm sorry I didn't get your pick there. The rules of the online meeting were explained very clearly. The guest introduction, we had only one guest was taken and he was made to feel welcome. The club mission was articulated perfectly. Recommendations I have for you is if you're using a computer, maybe you can try Toastmasters flag can be put as a virtual background. I should be the last person saying this because my background is sure really bad. A reminder could be given to members and guests to rename themselves as such because it becomes a confusion. Who is a Toastmaster? Who is a guest? We don't want to call a Toastmaster a guest. So that could have been mentioned. Timer, Tanvi, I liked it that you used the online timer. Timer's role was explained very well with an example. And the best part was you gave the importance of time management. Now, many times whenever people come in for the timer's role, they just think that they have to mention only about the timer's role, but it is also a good time to use the efficiency of time or how time plays well in Toastmasters. So you did a brilliant job at that. I do recommend annotations instead of screen sharing because it takes up the entire screen space. The timing report should have been noticed and timer's report should have been included, and that Vivaswan luckily pitched in. He always does. Then coming to the R counter, not much role to do, people feel, but I think the R counter's role is very important, and we'll see why and how. The role was explained in detail. The report was crisp. As I said, many people have this confusion. Even I had this confusion in the beginning days that why we have pauses as bad pause, 3 pauses, 5 pauses. See, there are 2 kinds of pauses: good pauses and bad pauses. I've never taken up the R counter's role, so I would like have you or somebody else to mention it, the difference between a good pause and a bad pause. In the sense, pauses are necessary in our speeches. Wow, what an excellent meeting. That was a good pause. So if not mentioning that as a bad pause, and the difference between the two would be really good for guests and for people like us alike. And the pauses could have been grouped in groups of 5 or less than 5 and flawless speakers. But other than that, a great job. Evaluator Indrajit. Oh my God, what should I say, Indrajit? You blew my mind off. You introduced the purpose of the project, focus on the content. Best part was the speech, was the hand gestures of the speaker, which you mentioned. I thought you wouldn't catch that one. That was brilliant. The club, so that is not for you, the commendation. That's a PowerPoint mistake, not mine. Recommendations of which you mentioned, the hand gestures. See, when you're telling somebody that the hand gestures were the best, and then you said that your recommendation is that hand gesture should be improved, it's kind of a conflicting idea. Either you be on this side of the story or that side of the story. So I think that's where there was a little confusion. But other than that, it was a brilliant job. And I really need to learn evaluation from you, Indrajit. Thanks a lot for your evaluation. Vivaswan, I'm extremely sorry. My connection got disconnected during evaluation. I really missed that one. I just heard the beginning. You introduced the purpose of the project, and remaining that is all just went missing because my machine really shut down. But I'm sure you must have given very valuable tips with your experience. So I'll skip that one. language evaluator Siddhant Apte, the best use was PowerPoint presentation. Now, let me just tell you all why me and Siddhant today, both of us thought of using PowerPoint presentations. All the credit goes to Toastmaster Aishwarya Bure, who last time used this method during her evaluation, and we found it very easy to understand. So I think that's the reason. Maybe you, at least I'm using it because of that, because it's the whole idea of an evaluation is to have a summary, and so it's really much better to put it in the PowerPoint form. I really loved that you mentioned schizophrenia and polyglot, such difficult words. You explained it very clearly at the moment, and in that moment difference, grammar mistakes are something which is very hard to catch. You did a brilliant job at that. Recommendations I have for you is, when the audience is not responding, when you're asking a question, asking them to use the word of the day, you can use some humor to get their attention, because audience like me are just plain lazy. So you just crack a joke and get their attention, and encourage them to use the word of the day and eye of the day. I'm quite disappointed with other, and even myself, we have not used it, because somewhere I feel the impact of the word of the day and the idiom of the day was not stressed enough, and we all have just blindly skip it. I hope we should not do that next time. Analogy, according to me, is a part of speech evaluation. You stressed a lot of analogy. I think the evaluator should mention analogies as part of speech evaluation. It is would be really helpful. The TMOD, what must I say? Vivaswan, you are awesome. You introduced all the role players with a brief introduction. You linked the theme with the role players beautifully. Sufficient time was given to speakers for the feedback to the speakers. The speech title and the speaker name was specified. The best part I liked is when you made a mistake and somebody corrected you. I think Siddhant corrected you, or Siddhant corrected you. You immediately gave an apt answer. So when we make mistakes, we are all here to make mistakes and learn. So whenever you make a mistake, encourage yourself. Don't say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake." Instead of saying, "I'm sorry," you just build upon it, and you did a great job at that. I just expected some more energy and smile. Vivaswan, you have been told time and again, smile. Smile is the best thing that can happen. Anyways, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the meeting today, Vivaswan. Thank you. I hope I've covered everyone. Over to TMOD.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Vishal.
How do I stop the screen sharing? I'm totally
on the
bad
top,
at this.
you will see the sharing windows. Over there, you can stop it. Or I can also stop it, actually.
I don't know how to stop it. Can someone stop it for me?
Yeah, I've done it. So thank you so much, Vishal, for the lovely report. Let's have a round of applause for him. Timer, are all the role players qualified? Okay. So
Yes.
let's have the poll for the best role player. Let me just read their names out. If I missed someone, then I can add them. Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Vivaswan. Our counter, Toastmaster Dineshwari. G, Toastmaster Vishal. Sergeant at Arms, Toastmaster Saurabh. Language Evaluator, Toastmaster Siddhant. And Timer, Toastmaster Tanvi. Have I missed anyone? No, right? I'll launch the poll then. Co-hosts, you can message me whoever your vote is. I'll keep it open for 30 more seconds. Co-hosts, if you want, then you can DM your votes to me. Thank you so much, everyone. That's almost it from my side. Before I hand it over to the presiding officer for a closing address, if you love today's theme me and a couple of friends of mine are planning more such talks on Instagram Live. We have one talk planned tomorrow. I'll just share the poster for it. We will be discussing on the first test match between India and England, which is slated to start on 5th of February. So if you guys are interested, then you can definitely join us on Instagram. Our Instagram handles are given below. I'll also share this photo on the group chat. So we will love to have you over there. And you can also share your comments by participating and chatting. So we will love to have you over there. Definitely do join us. With that, my role as the TMOD is done for the day. Now, let me hand over the stage to Toastmaster Swarangi. You will be doing the presiding officer's address, right?
Yeah.
Okay, over to Toastmaster Swarangi.
Okay, thank you so much. Today was a great meeting, well conducted by Toastmaster Vivaswan. And let's have a few guest feedbacks. So, Toastmaster or guest Ratikant, would you please like to give your feedback? Okay, I don't think he's here. Guest Rupesh, would you like to give your feedback?
Yes. When I heard about this Toastmasters Club from my friend, that is, he is also a Toastmaster. His name is Vikas. I thought of joining one club in Pune. My friend Vikas is in Ahmedabad, so he suggested me. When I talked to him that I want to improve my communication skills, then he suggested me you can see Google about Toastmasters Club in Pune. Then I googled it and found the Toastmasters Club. There are various clubs operating in Pune, but the suitability of time was an issue because on holidays I do have many commitments, so I chose to join a club uh, uh, on a weekday itself. So I found that this Pune Club West. So today was my first meeting, and I found I enjoyed a lot this meeting, and the two speakers, Toastmasters Swarangi and Swapnil, both of them spoke quite very well. So I enjoyed it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guest Rupesh. It was definitely, you have been trying to visit and see which of all the clubs are more convenient for you. So hope you become a Toastmaster at whichever club you find convenient, and hope you have a great learning journey.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Yes. Guest Avi, are you here? Okay, I guess he's facing an issue. Toastmaster Apurva, it's your first meeting, so what is your feedback? How did you find it?
Yeah, I find it quite interesting. The story of Swapnil, of course, I was correlating to that, and everybody in this club is. I am able to learn a lot from all of you, and that's great learning experience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, and I'm glad that you enjoyed the meeting, and we can definitely have you taking up a role in the next meeting onwards.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah. It's time now for showing for our awards right now. So I'll share my screen. All right. So the awards for today, the best speaker goes to me, Toastmaster Swarangi. The award for the best evaluator goes to Toastmaster Vivaswan. And the role for the best role player goes to Toastmaster Vishal. Congratulations, all the winners. And now we'll be starting with our moments of truth. And everyone, I'll give it over to Toastmaster Mansi, who'll be conducting it. Over to you.
Do we have 50% members?
So before beginning, to all the guests who are present, so officially the meeting has ended, and now it's just a club members related event, a short event that we perform to evaluate our club. So if you wish to stay, you can stay, or if you wish to leave as at this moment, you can leave right now, so that we'll, because we have to, in this event we have to group members in teams. So now is the right time. So if anyone wants to leave or join or stay, so make that decision quickly. We have people joining us.
We need 2 to 3 members more, right, to start the session. 15 are present right now. So should we wait for 5 minutes?
Yes.
Till that time, I have one doubt. Let me share my screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
In first impressions, these subpoints: guest book and name tags provided, professionally arranged meeting room, and convenient meeting location. So this is applicable for the physical meeting. So what should we do? Skip these points, or I mean, what should we do for that? You are muted, Vivaswan.
In place of name tags, the Zoom has names, so I think we can count it as 5 for now.
Currently, the location itself is the Zoom meeting. So
So what should we do? Skip or directly award 5 points?
So
it is
we
very
can decide.
convenient. All.
Yep. Yep. We can mark it as like a convenient location. Like, the group can decide.
Okay, sure. So our 15, we still have 15 members only.
How many more do we need?
Current count is 33. So 16.5. We need 17, right?
Yes.
Yeah, 17.
I think we can go ahead. It is not an issue. I have made 3 breakout rooms. In the first breakout room, we have Atharva, Anvay, Vishal, Rahul, Dineshwari. In the second breakout room, we have guest Rupesh, Siddhant, Tanvi, Kartiki, Saurabh, and Tushar. In the third breakout room, we have Swarangi, Apurva, Indrajit, and Mansi.
So ensure that so does each club have a person who can share the screen? It would be convenient. So
So
okay, Swarangi can share in her group.
Siddhant is there.
I can share it.
Anvay is there.
Let
Okay.
me share the document which we require.
Okay.
Do you
So
have the handout handy, Mansi? Or Atharva is going to conduct it?
No, I'm going to conduct it.
Okay.
Just a minute. So should we start?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. What is the purpose of Toastmasters? The purpose of Toastmasters is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience which helps the members to develop their communication skills and leadership skills. Of course, it's not the exact one, I'm just paraphrasing it. And it is essential for every club to determine whether it is satisfying that purpose or not. that this is exactly what Moments of Truth is about. Moments of Truth is a self-evaluation tool where the members evaluate the quality of club based on 6 parameters. Number 1, first impressions. Number 2, membership orientation. Number 3, fellowship, variety and communication. Number 4, program planning and meeting organization. Number 5, meeting strength. And number 6, achievement recognition. So this is the purpose of Moments of Truth. Now let me explain how we are going to do it. So as Vivaswan said earlier, he has made 3 breakout rooms and we have 6 parameters. So every breakout room has to discuss the 2 parameters. So breakout room number 1 will discuss first impressions and membership orientation. Breakout room number 2 will discuss the third and fourth point, and room number 3 will discuss the fifth and sixth point. Just a minute, let me share my screen. So every parameter has some subpoints. So for example, first impressions has subpoints like guests greeted warmly and introduced to officers and members, convenient meeting location, etc. And you have to discuss with the members of your room and award each subpoint marks out of 5. So for example, you I'm just saying random numbers. If you award the points 4, 3, 3, 2, 5 and 5. So after the discussion, each room will be given 10 minutes to discuss, 10 to 15 minutes. And after the discussion, you will choose a representative who will elaborate on the points in which you have awarded 3 or less than 3 marks. So if you have awarded point for the point guest invited to address the club, if you have awarded 2 points for that, so the representative will be spotlighted and he or she has to speak on how we can do better in that area. So this is what Moments of Truth is about. So I guess we can begin, but before that, if you have any doubt, you can ask right now. If anyone has any doubt. Or Vivaswan, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, we can tell which Moments of Truth will be allotted to which breakout room. Room number 1 has Dineshwari, Anvay, Ashutosh, Atharva, Vishal, and Rahul. So you can give them the first 2. Can you just tell the names of those?
Room number 1, first impressions and membership orientation. Room number 2, fellowship, variety and communication, program planning and meeting organization. Room number 3, membership strength and achievement recognition. Also, the PDF that I have shared right now, it also contains the best practices. So if you are awarding 3 or less than 3 marks for that particular point, you can refer to that PDF and the best practices for that point are given. So when you are going to speak about that point, you can refer that best practices as well.
Anvay, I'm moving you to room number 3. Tushar seems to have disconnected.
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Yeah. So does anyone have any doubt? Dineshwari, Ashutosh, Atharva, Vishal, and Rahul will target the first 2 Moments of Truth. Guest Rupesh, Siddhant, Tanvi, Kartiki, and Saurabh. I'll also join that room. We will target the third and fourth Moments of Truth. Anvay, Apurva, Indrajit, Mansi, and Swarangi, you will look after the fifth and sixth Moment of Truth. Now I'm opening all the rooms. If you have any doubts, then you can message me on WhatsApp, or you can there is an ask for help button, so you can click on that.
Also, when you all will exit the breakout room, click on exit breakout room, not exit the meeting.
Yeah. You will have gotten a notification, so you can click on that to join the rooms.